It's my pleasure to welcome you all for this webinar, Drone Development and Dedroning Technologies on Department of Mechanical Engineering, St. Joseph Institute of Technology, OMR, Chennai. I welcome you all for this webinar. So we shall wait for another 5 minutes for the participants to join. So meanwhile, we will have some promotional videos.
Whatever it takes.
Thank you all. Now may I call upon Mr. D. Murli, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, who will give introductory address of today's speaker.
Thank you, Krishna. Good morning, all. I welcome everyone. My name is Murali. I'm working as an assistant professor in St. Joseph Institute of Technology, OMR, Chennai. First of all, I thank everyone for taking your time and attending this session. Today's session is about the drone technology, which is going to be presented by Mr. P.S. Arvind Adit. The P.S. Arvind Adit is already a well-known person of all of us from St. Joseph Institute of Technology. To others out there, we are proud to introduce him as an alumni of St. Joseph Institute of Technology. Arvind is currently working as an application engineer in a well-known manufacturing sector in Chennai. He is also a good enthusiast in drone technology and also been an active participant in various industrial projects, namely drone, ATV, automation lifters, and Pokeyoke implementation systems and various automations on induction heaters. Thank you, Krishna. Now I hand over the session to Mr. Arvind to take over the session.
I thank Murli and Krishna for this opportunity and St. Joseph Institute for this opportunity. So I have been in drone enthusiast from the second years due to the advancements and the technology started to develop during the 2015s in the world. So I used this idea to implement to make a drone. Initially, I had an idea and so it was okay and it was going. Then I took the idea to my college and so that they would help me with it. So what happened is that they funded me with the project and they helped me to make a drone. Eventually, I made a drone which made me impressed. So eventually, it also helped me to get many get into the automation projects and into the automation industry. So I thank St. Joseph for it. So just we'll get into the presentation. So today's presentation will be on drone development and redroning technologies. Since 2015, the technologies have been rising hugely on the drones. So there is something called drone swarming, which is rapidly rising. So which is a major technology. I have started the presentation. You can join it. So the technology is like, till 2 or 3 years back, there was making a single drone was a costly issue and many problems were there in it. So which made it which made it a complicated issue. So what eventually we developed and due to the reductions in the electronics and the improvement in battery technologies, drone swarming became an important thing. So we'll see what is drone swarming and what are the applications we are going to see, and we'll see in the further slides. And redroning, just to give a brief on redroning. De-droning is a new term which is being coined in the drone industry. And the drone industry has been so rapidly developed that it can be, even a drone can be built by an hobbyist. So by which even within 5,000 to 1,000 rupees, you can build a drone, and which makes it easily accessible for as well as and for the pros as well as cons. So you can develop it for good use as well as bad use, which makes it an main important to that for technology to disable the drones. That's what de-droning is about. We'll see how de-droning technology is being developing. This is a very incumbent technology, so it will be a great opportunity for the college students as well as professors or anyone who is an drone hobbyist to work on it, and it will be a great idea to expand your field. And there are many government projects as well as private industry investing huge amounts of billions and trillions in this technology, which is a very incumbent technology and which is not known to many of the people. So we'll just jump into the presentation and we'll just see. So just I'll explain it a drone. I hope most of you will be aware of a drone or an UAV. So I'll just give a small brief about it. And drone is nothing but an unmanned vehicle. Previously, if you need to fly, you need a man and human to physically presence inside the vehicle. But due to the technologies and the advancement of the wireless communications, drones have developed and remote control has been established. So you can control a drone with a range of 10 kilometers sitting in your terrace, and you can control it in over 10 kilometers. So that's the main advantage of drones, drone developments and UAVs. So it has been great for everyone, and it's been really main advantage. So you can see the picture over here. That's the smallest drone which is available in the market ready-madely. It just weighs around 25 grams. That's the main advantage of the developments of drone. If you take it 5 years or 6 years back, and drone minimum, a small size drone will weigh around 2 to 3 kgs, and a military size drone will weigh in around tons. This is the military size drones. These are in use from the 2000s in militaries, starting from US, and it was eventually moved into Israel, and they sold out to many other countries. So that was available previously. What happens is that when things are larger, it will be better for everyone to easily control it and manufacture it. But when you go get it into micro station or shrink it, it becomes complicated. So what happens is that the technologies are raised and everything is coming on board. If you take our phone itself, before itself, we use laptops which uses a large logic board with a motherboard and everything. But now we see a phone which is a single motherboard, which logic board which comes in a size of a finger. So that's the main advantage. So that's the main advantage drones have been developing frequently. So we'll get into drone swarming. This is the latest technology which is being developed heavily and frequently in everything. And the drone, that's because the drone industry is currently now priced at $5.8 billion in industry. So that makes drones advancements. Just flying a single drone and using it for army or any purpose is not anything. So usage of multiple drones to multiple technologies is becoming an important thing. So what happens is that drone swarm is nothing but multiple drones. You can read the PPT also. I also explained it as well. And drone swarming is nothing but multiple drones joining together and working independently or controlled by an operator, which together are carrying out objectives. So in this drone swarming technology, many drones work together. Say assume 52. I'm just saying a small number. 50. Assume 50 drones are flying. They are synced perfectly that they don't crash or they fly unanimously. Also, it can be controlled by an operator, or it can be automatically programmed to reach a destination and carry out tasks, etc. So this is just a drone swarming. As it's similar to the locusts which we have seen in the locust attacks, similar to in the Rajasthan regions. So they are similar to, they all fly in groups but without crashing and for proper safety measures. That's the main thing. In this, you can see there's an Intel image. You may see that it's a graphic generated image, but it isn't. It was created by a swarm of 500 drones, which were a main feature of Intel, which showing off their technologies or how the drone swarms can be mainly used. I'm just going to show you a video. of how this drone technology is going. I'll just show you a video just a minute. Okay, I'll just see this video. So as you have seen that there are the drones have made a particular formation or an formation over the sky, which was perfectly demonstrated. That is how powerful the drones have becoming. So the technology is used for in the civilian sector for air shows and everything. So that's the main thing which is which is being used for drone swarms in the civilian and commercial sector. So that's the simple technology and as the basic of what are drones. So next we move on to the constructive use of drones. As we say, take any technology, there are constructive as well as destructive ways in the constructive and destructive ways. So first we'll go from constructive, then we'll see the destructive ways and how and the further technologies. So constructive ways of drone are the main thing is this. The first and the preliminary thing is the light shows and fireworks. There are also the main thing is that as we saw Intel as well as in the Olympics 2015, 2018, sorry, Olympics 2018, many of the people use the drones as drones to show as a light show. It was Winter Olympics, not Olympics, sorry. Winter Olympics 2018. So this was the most thing which was used just in the constructive way. So here we can see that there was an human kind of thing or used to around 500 to 400 drones were used to create the image. So it was totally LEDs fitted on the drone and they were programmed to such a way they were in the form of a human and thing. Here you can see the Olympic ring. You know how complicated to form a ring with intersecting rings. Here, this 2 points of the points where the circles intersect, you have to perfectly program the drones to stay in a particular position so that they don't crash. So by which they executed an perfect visually representation of the the Olympic rings. So here we are seeing a diagrams which in which the two drones build a bridge and hanging bridge. This was carried out by the Zurich Institute for Dynamic Systems and Controls from Germany. What they did was they programmed the drones in such a way and that they autonomously built both the bridges without crashing into themselves or the environment. So this is how the developments are becoming. So by which assume that these are just two drones. But take around 10 drones constructing an wire loop or anything. Just a minute, someone got into presenting. Okay. So assume that 4 to 5 drones become work independently with syncing towards each step, and they are. I hope you can see my screen. Can anyone confirm?
Yes, we can able to see your screen. You can continue.
Yeah. So now you see that we are seeing just two drones building a small independent structure which is in a laboratory environment. Consider 10 to 50 drones working together to build an entire structure or an which they are lifting capable to autonomous. The construction sector as well as the engineering sector will be heavily profited. So this is a recent and modern technology which is being developed, and there is a lot of research going on. So you can just get into and Google and just search for papers which are being widely used. It's also not that all the technology is proprietary. There are many open source softwares which can be used to control these kind of drones. All you need is just make those 2 or 5 drones, and you can make it such that it can be autonomously made. So here's another place where the drone swarms are used. In Japan, there's this technology being widely implemented to spray pesticides, in which 42% of the paddy fields in Japan are mostly used for using these technologies. Assume an 5 to 6 acres of land which is being which needs to be spray pesticides with an UK-based biocarbon engineering, which is using drone swarms. Like they use 10 to 15 drones to spray pesticides all around the farms. So what is that? Within 18 minutes, they spray pesticides around 2.5 acres. 2.5 acres. So this is really an advantageous technology which is growing. If we take a manual spraying, it takes around days and weeks to spray an 2.5 acres of land. So what happens is that they just program the drones and fill the pesticides, and just they hit the go button, and the drones automatically just fly and spray the pesticides. Also is that reforestation with seed sowing is a modern technology which is being used. The seeds are packed into the drones, and they are set into forests where deforestation has happened. This is widely implemented in the African region, where deforestation has happened for mining activities. Once the mining is done, the area is left vacant, and it has to be afforested. So the drones are used to sow seeds all around the area. So next monsters, right? Okay, these are the constructive ways. Presently, the constructive ways are so limited that there is many opportunities still we can be used. So presently, there are only used in the farming industry as well as the light shows and etc. But the destructive use of drone swarms has been heavily increasing due to the easy accessibility of the drones and the easy technology which is available in the market. If you take an website and you can buy a drone easily for 1,000 to 2,000 rupees for these kind of drone swarm attacks. The higher end drones are use complicated technologies, but for this minimum technology using drones, which needs to only communicate between each them and use it for a coordinated attack, you didn't need such advanced drones for 1 lakh or 2 lakhs. Just in 2,000 to 3,000 rupees drones will be enough for attacks. So what happens is that multiple drones carrying chemical weapons. Think like 500 drones carrying small chemical capsules spread all over the city and get burst. The whole of the city will be damaged and they spread the poisonous gas, which will and will cause total havoc and problems. So with access to easy drone, the governments are much capable of doing anything with the thing. So what happens is that the drone technology is very complicated also. Like even the blades of a drone made of carbon fiber, if sent towards a human, it will be easily attacked. For example, while making my drone, I was working on it, and the motor started spinning suddenly with the wings propellers on. So what happened is that I just got an heavy cut on my finger, which the scar lasted for around 1 year. So that was a plastic wing, of course. So carbon fiber wings are much more harder and very dangerous actually to use. So the mostly carbon fiber wings are prohibited in drone races and civilian uses. So that's the main thing. So assume that around 100 drones are fitted with carbon fiber wings and launched towards people. Everyone would get severely hurt, and blood damage will be a possible thing. So that's the main thing, and this is the starting of destructive use of things. So next we move. This was drone swarms were particularly used to attack many facilities around the world during the last year. So if we take the Saudi Aramco facility, which was located in the Saudi Arabia, a drone swarm was sent into the facility. Oil refineries are very fragile and easily can be triggered fire. So what happened is that possibly it is said that ISAS was involved in it. So what happened is that ISAS sent a huge swarm of drones, around 100 to 200 drones into 2 oil facilities in Saudi Arabia, and they triggered fires, and the oil reserves started depleting. What happened is that the oil prices started to rise across the East Arab region. So since Arab is the main producer of oil throughout the world, the oil prices started to stumble. So what happened is that these kind of drone swarms can be used to launch economic attacks against the countries and make the country's economy unstable. So this is one of an negative or destructive use of drone swarms. Also, in Western Syria, there was a Russia's airbase which was located. This was the first seen attack throughout the world using drone swarms. What happened is that first and initially, and the drones were sent, and suddenly the army radar started to pick up 13 drones on the radars. But what is that? They used many small drones, and these 13 drones were larger, so only they were able to pick up in the radar. So what happens is that they just saw 13 drones and they thought they can easily shoot it away using just normal guns. But once they reached near, you can see the image over here. There were multiple drones surrounding that the military base. So by which it was a threat to a national security, and they eventually attacked, but the damage was very low since they didn't have any explosives packed onto them. So it was just a normal destructive attack, which just they crashed into the military base. So think of if you take India itself with the ongoing conflict in the Ladakh region, if China prepares to launch a drone attack over there, it will be like a catastrophic damage to us. So if they target our missile bases and even our army soldiers over there, we can't repel them, since the technologies are incubant and just they are in the developing conditions, and we haven't deployed the technologies across the borders. That's the main important thing. So the commercial sector as well as the industrial sector has to develop much more in this field. So next we are going to the actual military usage of these drones. Military usage refers to the same thing, but same as we saw earlier. But the army is officially using these drone swarms to attack or carry out countermeasures instead of to the terrorists or other countries, which is possible right now. So what happens is that you can see the first point where Turkish military is preparing to buy in 500 quadcopters or drones, which carry missiles as well as bombs in it. So they are like the kamikaze flights which were used in the World War II by the Japanese. What happens is the kamikaze flights directly go and started to bomb the Axis for the UK as well as the US forces, by which they had like suicide attacks. But in that, every flight used I was used to carry an human, which was then caused a life costing. But here, due to the technological advancements, the drones can be just made to crash over there, which is worse and a nightmare situation for everyone in the world. Also, in the British Army and Turkish Army, as well as the Pentagon, also is being working with DARPA to develop many this kind of drone swarming technologies to attack. So this is like an nightmare situation which is being developed towards throughout the world. So there are many many companies which are working these drone swarming technologies, but you can't sell these drones as an official or in a commercial way. So what happens is that they are contacting with the militaries of the various countries and starting to use this as an opportunity, so that it's a growing field. So we are going. So as we've seen, there are many attacks went through the oils in the Saudi Aramco facilities as well as in the military bases. So there's an urgent and an immediate development to develop and counter droning technologies, or to destroy these kinds of drone swarms which are rising. Even a single drone can be launched into an okay, just a minute. Mm. Yeah, okay. What happens is that multiple due to these technologies, there have been an promising and an important sector which is in development, that is called de-droning or counter droning. Whenever it's similar to a radar and a missile system which is right now available. So when an enemy aircraft, a normal aircraft enters our space, a radar is used to radar is used. Okay, sorry for the interruption. So when an enemy aircraft enters our region, we use radars to find them, and we scramble jets to counter those things. So similar technology is needed at this point to counter these kind of drone swarms. That's the main thing. So there are multiple ideas which will be eventually seeing the thing. So in this, you can see, as we saw, that can be the drone swarms can be used to attack any government or military installations or used for large-scale surveillance. Assume a coordinated surveillance attack. The whole, like multiple military bases are surveillance at a particular point using multiple drones. So by which it'd be a great threat to the national security. Also carrying out civilian attacks. So assume it's like a serial attack, packing of 12 to 15 drones with explosives and sending them to the different parts of a city or country to carry out civilian attacks, and it can be a nightmare to the national security. And the main problem is that tracing the origin of these attacks. Once these attacks are carried out, you can't trace it back, since all the programming is done autonomously, and you can't trace back the original position, since the drone will be destroyed once it gets bursted. So that's the main thing. So we'll just see into how we can counter these kind of things. So this process is called de-droning, and it's in a very incubant stage, and people are in still development. So de-droning defines as de-droning. Simple, it's just an anti-droning kind of thing. So here, what we is that we use an Perumal, you are trying to present, so please.
Aravind, it is not issue. Even if you present, since the participants have pinned they will be able to see your screen. You can just ignore it.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, yeah. De-droning. So there are multiple technologies in way. So one thing is that physically attacking the drones. Another is using the signals to interfere or to take control of the drone, hacking of the drones, kind of thing. So these are the three basic types of the de-droning technologies currently currently present. So you can work on any of these two, and in any of this as in your project to develop the ideas. So we'll just move on to it. So as I told, these are the four main things, three main categories in the de-droning technologies, and many more technologies might develop in the eventual future. So physical attack on drones and disruptions of signals. Disruption of signal means like scrambling the radio control, like the 2.4 gigahertz signals or the GPS or the other signals which are present in the drones. Our hijacking of the drones is much more complicated. It's taking control of the drone over the other side, which gives and superior control over the technologies. So as we move, physical attack of drones. Physical attack refers to the making direct contact with the drones using our weapons or nets or fences, or even they are using trained birds to take out the drones. So what happens is that if you see a drone swarm coming, and you prepare to counter the attacks, what is that you can create small rockets, not the missile kind of things, and medium scale or small scale rockets which are currently present in the handheld rockets, which can be launched at the drone swarms, which will take out them easily. Or use of nets to capture the drones. Assume it's like a fish swarm which is swimming in the sea. The drone swarm as well as the fish school group of fishes which are swimming are similar to their behavior. So they move together, and what happens is that when you throw a net into the sea, the whole of all the fishes get captured into the net. So similar concept is used here. What happens is they just shoot a net over the approaching direction of the drone swarms, and what happens? All of the drones get captured in the net, and it can be easily. Then the drones can be taken in, and it can be taken for further processing. So next is the use of fences to enclose the facility. This is the most basic way to counter the facilities, and it's an passive way. The first two ways are active ways. First or two and the birds will be an active way, and the fences is a passive way. Since the fences are just standing over there and they won't allow you into allow instead. Assume that the whole of the facility is covered with the fences, not only the sides, walls, as well as the roof. It's like an biodrome kind of thing or a glass house. So by which the total area will be fenced and no one can get into it, as well as drones or any kind of attacks. So it's a passive way. Once you held it up and it will be standing there for everything. And what happens is that the rockets and capturing of nets and using trained birds. Trained birds, it's an very you need some extra time and you need funding to take out the drones. You have to train the birds to take out the drones which are flying. This is mostly used in single or like within 10 drones which are flying as a swarm towards the facility or thing to take out. So assume there are 10 drones flying to it. You send 10 birds which are vultures or kind of thing, which I'll just show you. So assume this is the picture. And vulture or an eagle can be sent out, which is a trained thing to take out the drones. So here we can see an missile system, which this is just an prototype kind of thing, which can be used and handle the launcher to launch the attacks towards the drone swarm. This is the netting thing. So what happens is that once you throw the net to them, the drones get captured and they can't move and it's totally jammed, and they just fall down since the propellers cannot spin. This is the drone fencing is also in basic and passive way, as I told. So next we are moving to the disruption of signal things. So as I told you before, radio frequencies and GPS signals are the most prominent two signals which are used to carry out these drone attacks. So once either if we disrupt the radio frequency signals or the GPS signals, we can easily take down these drone swarms. What is that? Radio frequencies are only used when the operator is controlling the drone or operator is controlling the drone. Once it is held autonomously, only the GPS signals are responsible for the drone. Since the operator just sends the signals and says go to this point, and the drone only communicates with the GPS for all the movement processes. So what happens is that we have to either jam the radio signals or spoof the GPS signals to either misguide or disable the drones. So so we just move on to, we'll just see. So disruption of signals. An RF jammer is nothing a radio frequency jammer. What happens is that you send in rogue signals of radio frequencies. All the drones are controlled by the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum radio frequencies. That is the main problem. Assume that if you send in a signal of send in a rogue 2.4 signal, a 2.5 gigahertz signal, the drone will be confused to which signal it has to take, and what happens is that it gets misguided, and all the drones come with a safety feature called automatic landing. It's a default and a protocol which is being used all over the most of the drones. So what happens is that when you get multiple signals and it gets confused to whether go in a particular direction or not, so by which the total drone gets drowned. So I'll just show you a video on how this jamming, RF jamming works. Just a minute. Okay, so if you see here, so the guy having his gun is over that's an RF jammer. So what happened is that once he started to target the RF jammer towards the drone, the thing started to confuse with the signals, and the operator which is operating the signal. So this is the usual controller of an operator gets disabled, and what happens is that you can't anymore take over the control of the drone. The drone gets confused, and what happens? 1 minute. Yeah, the drone gets confused and it automatically lands to a particular position. So that's the main advantage of RF frequencies. But one disadvantage of this is RF frequencies are you have to target the RF frequency at a particular direction towards the drone. So if it's either towards a certain angle different from the drone, you can't take over the drone, or it'll be used as an waste. So we have the particular positioning of the drone is particular. And next thing, if you see, is jamming of the GPS signals. So what happens is the GPS operates on two frequencies, the 1575 megahertz and 1200 megahertz frequencies. So what happens is that it's similar to the RF frequencies, but these signals come from satellites which are positioned around the Earth. So any possibility where to disrupting these two frequencies or sending in rogue frequencies signals into these spectrum will cause the drone to get disabled. So I just show you another video in which the drone signal will be disrupting. Just a minute. So in this video, we can just a minute, please go up. In this video, you can see that there is an home coordinate. Home coordinate means where the drone has started from the starting, and this is the GPS coordinates. So this is where the drone is currently right now, and barometers are air pressure sensors. So if you see that there will be a guy standing in the crowd which has a GPS spoofer on him, and will be targeting at the drone. So once he starts to target the drone, you can see the GPS signals goes to start to go off. So now the drone is working as intended. So once as he goes, yeah. Now we can see that this is the guy who's going to launch an attack on this drone, which will disable the GPS parameters. Yeah. Now we see once he started to attack it, the GPS signals become not available. This is because whenever you target two rogue signals, if you say you are saying the drone that you are in position A, but what the counter droning is saying that you are in position B, which makes the GPS obsolete and will cause the drone to confuse and will like totally will make it obsolete. So as you see, once the GPS signals are gone, you can't say where the drone is, and the drone will just start to move away due to the wind, since it can't stabilize in a particular position. So that's the main problem over this. So jamming of now you see once the visual line of contact gone, the GPS signal starts to come back. Since the counter jammer was far back. So now if you see, as he goes again towards, the drone again starts to move. So if you see here, actually the drone was intended to go to the H point, but what happened is that when it started to come over here, the guy started to use GPS jammers, which made the drone to lose position, and it started to move in the direction of the wind and went and started to go back. So this is the main problem, main advantage in using GPS jamming. So what happens is that this is the thing. So we'll get in the presentation. So this is how GPS jammers work. So sending it spoof signals to the drones will cause it disabling it. So what can you do is that installing this GPS spoofers across the facilities inside the military as well as commercial facilities, making jamming the jamming things. Now we are currently actually along with my friend's startup, we are working with the NSG forces to use kind of a redowning technology. This also uses an GPS spoofers. We can't disclose all the information since it's being currently worked on. So that's the main thing. So currently there has been a rise in these kind of redowning technologies due to the attacks from all over the world. So what happened? What is that within the using the college days itself? There's a main advantage of these kind of things which you can develop. It's been a great way of discovering the advancements in the dedroning technologies, and it's also, since it's an incubant technologies, the funding from private sectors will be highly for you when you approach the correct people. So by which if you work on these kind of technologies for your as an final year project or even as an hobby project, and approaching the perfect perfect company for funding, or even if it's possible, you can individually work on it. So it will help you to greatly develop in this field. And to be frank, the funding is too high in this sector at this moment. So as we move, the next two methods will be which will be coming in the future, as these are very and developing stage. So what is it? This is an use of high power microwave things. If you take your phone and take it into a microwave itself, you can't get in signals. That's the simple logic over here. What happens is that the microwave also interferes with the drone signal, operator signal. So the frequency, that's the main thing. So what happens is that it acts like an EMP. And if you send a powerful enough microwave signal onto the drone, it is capable of short circuiting the circuit boards. In case if you want to know, if you have any an old RAM or SD card, just throw it into your microwave. There are many videos. Just don't try it. You can just see videos in which if you throw an electronic into a microwave and just run it for 5 seconds, the electronics gets fried off. That is due to the heat and interference of the microwave signals with the electronics, with which the electronic boards gets destroyed. That's only main reason is that we should not keep any electronics near the microwaves. So that technology is used in this HPM devices, high power microwave devices. So it's kind of an EMP, electromagnetic pulse. That's the expansion of EMP. So the next is high energy lasers. This is an very costly technologies, and it's similar to an sci-fi kind of technology. What happens is that you send in powerful lasers to take out the drones, but this is a very incumbent technologies and needs a heavy technology and research is going on in this. So what happens is that you focus on high powerful lasers onto the drones, by which they are powerful enough to either melt the electronics inside the drone, or just cause short circuits inside the drone, by which the drone swarms can be easily taken out. So, but this is an kind of the most costliest thing of all the things we have seen over here. But still, it's been in research and it's used in currently DARPA has this thing kind of thing over here. And what happens is, also when Trump came to India during the 2 years back in Delhi, an antidote similar to the laser system was used in Delhi to prevent any drone attacks as a safety measure. This was created by DRDO during 2 years back itself. That's how high the technology is being developed. So it hasn't yet reached the commercial sector. That's one main thing. Still is in the military use. So the next thing is that so as well as I told that currently NSG is working on an indigenous de-droning system. Since these systems work on the national securities, there's a high demand of Make in India initiative kind of thing. So since we can't let out the defense projects onto the other nations or other private sectors, the country has been hardly working and connecting with people who are Indian startups or even Indian large-scale players to work on these kind of de-droning technologies, even drone swarming technologies. There are many options with the DRDO also. There are companies partnering up and working on these kind of technologies. So I hope and I believe that college students should much work on these kind of technologies, since these are very starting up technologies. Like if you take AA itself, 5 years back, AA was in very starting technologies, and people who invested time and money at that time are reaping their benefits now due to its development. So de-droning is also similar to AA 5 years back. So what happens is that if you spend your time and valuable resources on de-droning technologies, within 2 or 3 years, there will be a sudden spike in these technologies, and you will be highly benefited from it. So this there comes to an end of our presentation. So drone swarming and de-droning technologies are the things we saw today. So drone swarming is nothing but a group of drones coming to attack or and using it in a constructive or destructive way. Both can be done as we saw. And de-droning is to disable the kind of drone. Whenever you do a project, just make it a habit that you also make a small project out of it. So like when I was doing my drone project, it was just a normal drone development. I worked on the aerodynamics and things of it. But what happens is that I also developed another project called to drone emergency drone recovery system. What it really dealt with is to prevent the crashing of drones. So I worked on it also using the same technology. So that's the main thing. So you guys can work on this thing as well as simultaneously work on many small projects along with this will help you. So I hope this session will be interactive and be helpful to you guys to work on these projects for your final year or even as a hobby. So thank you.
Thank you, Arvind Adit. Is it possible for us to see the drone which you done in our college for this some particular application? Is it possible for us to see the video?
Yeah, if you want, I'll just show you a video of it. Just a minute.
I request all the participants to fill the form which is posted in the chat box. I request all the participants. Filling that form will give you a certificate within 2 days. It will take 2 to 3 days to give to distribute the certificate. I request all the participants to fill the form which is posted in the chat box. Yes, Arvind, you can carry on.
Yeah, just a minute. I'm just starting it up. I'll just show you a video in which I worked on it. So this will be a footage which was captured from the drone which I made, and you'll also see the drone in the presentation, in the video. So this was the project which drone which I made during my college time. So
It would be none. So from this only, I made that project which was to prevent the crashing of drones. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Muralidhar. Yes, Arvind, we can
Yeah.
get into the chat box. If
Yeah, okay.
we have any questions, we can.
Yeah, okay. I just saw a question where in which the drone regulations in India. Right now, in India, there are no problems with drones weighing less than 250 grams. Commercial drones, including when DJI, there's a model called DJI Air, I think so, that is less than 245, 249 grams. You can buy it, you can buy it and you can buy it. So what happens is that whenever you buy a drone, you just make sure you just register with the DGCA. DGCA is an organization of the government in which if they provide license, official drone licenses. So it will be also an advantage for you. So if it possible, anyone drone hobbyist or enthusiast, there's a written exam for it. Once you clear the exams, they will grant you a license for it. So you can officially fly the drones in India. So for buying of drones, as I said, for drones less than 249, 250 grams, you need no any registration. But any drones above 250 grams, you need to register with the DGCA, the same organization, and you need to get an. They'll give you an SIM card kind of thing. Just like it comes with a GPS tag as well as an SIM card which contains an information of your drone, the drone's owner, as well as the owner of the drone and the specifications of the drone. So make sure if you're buying a larger drones more than 250 grams, you better make it register. So that's the main thing. And someone has asked about my drone. My drone was mainly used for surveillance as well as for gas detection as well as autonomous flying was tried to implement it, but was not implemented. So main thing was surveillance was the main problem because it was created in 2016. This was the post 2015 flood era. So during 2015 floods, we didn't have drones as an access, so which we couldn't make. Surveillance across the Chennai city, so that if we had a drone over there, we could easily have found people who are stranded across. But back then, we are using helicopters to find out people where we are stranded. So that was the main thing. I created this drone around 2016. Then I implemented a gas detection sensor to find out any toxic gases are present in it. So by which any gas leakage in chemical industries can be easily found out. So I'll just find out other question. No, as of now, if you want to prepare a drone from the scratch, once you completing the drone, as I told, if it's greater than 250 drones in 250 grams, you have to register with the DGCA, else it's no problem. It's better if you get a license from the DGCA, else if you are flying a drone within 250 grams, no, it will be no issues. But still, getting a license is a far better opportunity. So, what about hijacking drones in de-droning all? That's an which is a very incubant state. Since once the drone gets into an autonomous position, there are no contacts with the drone. Like if we saw once it gets into autonomous position, the only contact with the drone is that the GPS signals. So if you the only possibility is you have to capture the GPS signals or the flight controller which is inside the drone. If it has an Wi-Fi signal or any other signals which is being emitted, you have to target it. So that's the main thing. It's much complicated rather than you think. So that's the technology of hacking as of now. Can we do deliveries using drone as a part time? Right now in India, it's not developed, but in UK, Amazon is starting to deliver using drones. So in India, maybe if you are developing a startup and working with the governments or the e-delivery companies, maybe in either 1 or 2 years, it's possible. Also, I'll just leave my email as well as my LinkedIn profile. So if you want also, you can just contact me through that. So how will you calculate your place or calculate the drone to be placed in the third place in the real world perspective? So it's like nothing but once you throw in GPS sensor over it, what happens is if you start to get in signals from the GPS. So the GPS signals can be coordinated with a simple API from Google. Google has has been using APIs for a long time, and those coordinates can be synced with the Google Maps API, which can be give the correct location of this. So the whole of the maps can be downloaded onto the drone on board or your computer, and using the signals which are being delivered got from the GPS signals, it can be synced with the Google API, Google Maps API, and can be used to find the position of your drone in the real world. How long does it prepare to drones? Does it depend upon the take to prepare the drones? I assume you are asking about the prepare the drones for flying. So as of now, there are many drones which are ready to fly, RTF modes called ready to fly. So within 5 minutes, you can prepare it and start flying. If you ask it for the developments of drone, it will take around 1 or 2 weeks if you have all the parts. Since right now there are, during my development, most of the parts were developed from imported from China as well as US. Right now with many restrictions with within our country as well as the Cold War going with China and ourselves, there are many problems. What's your question, Dhanush Adhavan? Red government. KK board is using some drone and it's pre-programmed board. There are it's not like the boards are different from multiple things. There was even a simple Arduino board, and there's an software called Arduino Pilot. You can use it in the Arduino board itself to develop it use to control the drones. Since Arduino has has a versatile connection and the pins which can be used for connecting other devices or sensors, it can be used. So I would prefer you to go with an Arduino, or even a Raspberry Pi is being used in many DIY drones. So even a Raspberry Pi will also help you. Or else if you want to go with an ready-made boards, I may have to check it. Just leave me a mail so that I'll just help you with that. So if you have any queries or any more questions, you can just leave me a mail or you can contact me through my LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Arvind. It was really a good session. We were very much happy to see a student giving such a good lecture. And we have got lots of appreciation in the chat box during your session. It was really good, and we are very much happy to see our students doing good lecture. Thank you, Arvind, for your valuable time which you spent with us today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.